Hello everyone and welcome to Picture Perfect Presents. My name is Angela Andrew and today we're going to be talking about creating awesome heirloom photo gifts with your own photos. We're working with Printique, which is an awesome photo lab, to create some really spectacular gifts that you can give this holiday season. And today we're going to do calendars. Before we jump into today's session, I do want to remind you that we have a lot of great live events that you can join in. Lori Rubin, my counterpart who's here helping out in the chat, is running those first two programs you see up on the screen. She does morning sessions at 9:30 a.m. and those cover importing, setting up new devices, sharing, and search in Mylio Photos. So if you have specific questions about those topics, those are the best sessions to jump into, and she will make sure your questions are answered. She also hosts Ready, Set, Go, which is a program we run especially for our new users, or maybe you just stepped away for a while and you need a refresher. Make sure you check that out. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we hold an open Q&A, kind of an Ask Me Anything session. That's with me, and we'll talk about anything from, of course, Mylio, organization, photography. You can ask me about photo gear, photo editing, family history, kind of anything within that realm is fair game. So hopefully you guys can join us for those. Those are a lot of fun, and it's different every single time. So please feel free to join. We also hold coffee breaks every Friday, which are a short tutorial followed by more open Q&A. And special for the holiday season, last week and this week, we're running Picture Perfect Presents to showcase some of the things you can make with Mylio Photos and Printique. And Printique is a new integration in Mylio Photos. Today we're going to talk about photo calendars. Tomorrow we're going to talk about personalized drinkware. We're going to do mini photo books for grandparents, gifts for pet lovers, and some custom gift tags. So hopefully you can jump in and join us for those. They're a lot of fun. Pretty short sessions and should give you some creative ideas on how to use your pictures. If you're looking for a special holiday gift for a friend or a loved one, consider giving them the gift of Mylio. If you're loving using Mylio Photos, you can get a gift card that also will give you a couple of extra months on your subscription. So it's a great win-win situation. You can find those at mylio.com/holidaygifts. We also have some great specials for new users. So if you head over to the main Mylio website, you'll be able to find those there as well. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the fun stuff and talk about making some photo gifts. Today we're going to do creating a custom photo calendar, and you can do this a lot of different ways. You can create it on a ton of different themes. Today I'm going to talk about how I selected the photos for mine. We'll prep them for printing, upload them to Printique, and then create that custom photo calendar. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is select photos. So you can do this on a variety of different themes. You can do a calendar based on different times of the year and pick some of your favorite photos from different seasons. You can do them on your family. You can do them on your kids. You can do them on all sorts of different topics. The topic I chose to do for mine is California beach scenes. So I'm going to show you some of the ways that I found that. I started by looking at just my 2024 images. I actually ended up expanding that to everything in my library that was 4 and 5 star to find my favorite beach scenes and, coastal scenes that fit this as that I wanted for my calendar. Like I said, you can also do other categories, and let's go ahead and take a look in Mylio, and I'll show you how I did it. So you'll see here up on the screen, I just put this up here just for a bit of comic relief. This is McAllen. If you've been on some of my other sessions, you might have seen him make an appearance here and there. He is just up to all sorts of mischief this holiday season, and this one was from last night, and he was, this is after I chided him for trying to climb the tree. So let's go ahead and go back here and take a look at all photos. And you can use quick filters to narrow down your entire library to find certain things. So I mentioned you could start by looking at things from the last year. So we could go by date, by year, and we can go into 2020s and choose just 2024. Or maybe if you want to be a little bit broader, you can even say 2023, or maybe let's even just say all of the 2020s. That gives us a bit more to work with. And then let's say we want to find the absolute best photos in that time frame. We can choose our 4 and 5 stars. And that gives us quite a lot to work with here. And then we can even narrow that down further by category. So if you've taken the time to add categories to your media, you might want to say, I only want to see my family photos, or I only want to see my travel photos. And that's going to go ahead and narrow it down even further. And from there, you can go ahead and start selecting some of those images that you want to use to make your calendar. Now, I mentioned I wanted to do beach scenes, and I honestly don't have that many from the last couple of years, but I do have quite a few in my library. So I'm actually going to close out travel and 2020s. And we're just going to go ahead and look through these and find some of those favorite beach scenes. Now, one thing you want to think about when you're making a calendar is, do you want your pictures to be horizontal or vertical? Typical calendars are going to have a horizontal picture at the top and your calendar across the bottom of the page. Now, there are layouts you can do that are full page, so you have an entire vertical representation of your photo with the calendar overlaid over part of that image. That's certainly an option. But personally, I like to have a nice clean space for my calendar so I can write in other dates and other events, and then have the picture at the top. But you have both options. For this particular calendar, I want to go ahead and work with those horizontals. So I'm actually going to limit this. We can do this here in Mylio as well. Go down here by visual property, by orientation, and let's say we want these all to be landscape. And that's going to further narrow in what we're looking at and help us pick those best images. So now we can kind of scroll down. You can go ahead and do a search if you know you want to find things from, let's say, Pismo Beach or from San Diego or from different areas. You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of scroll and find some of those best images. Like I have several surfing pictures here. I think that's a really cool one. And I'm just going to click and drag that to the bottom of the screen. That opens up the Mylio clipboard, which is kind of a temporary holding area where you can gather things to put elsewhere later. And what I can do is I can pull some of these images down into the clipboard, later on switch to my albums view, and then drag them into an album or create a new album with those images. So it's a great way to kind of sort through things and find those favorite images. Here's a few more, like I really like this one here in San Simeon. This one's a great one here in Avila Beach. I love these pictures here of Morro Rock. And these are great beach scenes here, but these ones here are actually on the East Coast. So I'm going to leave those be for now, but this one here is West Coast. And these ones here are a few of my favorites as well. And you don't necessarily have to be keeping count at this point. Eventually you do want to whittle it down to having, I would suggest, you can do more than one image per page for sure, but I like to kind of keep it simple and focused, one image per month. So eventually you'll want to whittle it down to 12 images, or maybe 13 if you want something different for the cover. But I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here. Let's find a few more that we can pop in here. Oh, this is a good one here. And oh, these ones are awesome. I love these. All right, let's get a couple more. This one here from Scripps Pier down here in La Jolla. This one of Pismo Beach. I have a lot of ocean pictures from all over the place, many, many years. There's another series from San Simeon. These ones, Horses on the Beach, these are pretty cool. You can throw a couple of those down there. All right, I think we've got enough to work with now, and what we're gonna do is switch over to our albums view. And here from the top level of the albums, if you need to get to the top level, just double click on that albums icon in the left sidebar. You can then go down here to the actions menu down on the bottom right, or just right click in this open area and say new album. And I'm just going to call this test for the moment because I actually have another collection that I've already curated, but I want to show you how to get these images into your album. So you're just going to go ahead and click on this film strip here at the bottom with your Mylio clipboard. You'll see everything is selected in blue. I can just click and drag that right into that test album. And from there, you can go ahead and go, okay, there's 15 images in there. Call out a few, remove them from the album. It doesn't actually delete them. Albums are virtual organization. And then you can go ahead and make your album or make your calendar from that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and switch to another collection that I already put together specifically for this purpose. Here we go, my photo calendar. So these are the images that I curated earlier. And I went through and I found some of my favorites. You can see a lot of those ones that we selected down here in the clipboard are also in this collection. So these are the ones that I want to go ahead and send to Printique. So let's jump back here to the presentation. We selected our photos. The next thing we do before we upload them is we want to prep them for printing. Now, all the images I showed you, I've already taken the time to edit. It's one of the things that I really like to do. I create fine art photography and I make a lot of creative edits with my images. So if you're taking these images, let's say straight off your phone, or maybe somebody shared them with you, before you print them, you want to make sure they look their absolute best. So you can do a lot of editing inside of Mylio Photos. You can crop images, make sure that your subject is really the focal point of your image, and do some edits to make sure that they just look great. So let's go ahead and take one of these images. See if I can figure out where my mouse went. There it is. All right, and you can go over here to the right and click on the edit tools. Now this is a Photoshop document, so that's actually going to give me a problem there. Let's find one that's not. Here we go. All right, so we can go here and we could say we could click auto color. That's going to go ahead and do any color correction that it needs. Auto tone is going to balance the exposure. It's going to probably tone down the brightest areas and maybe brighten up the darker areas. Similar with auto enhance, but that also impacts color. And if you want to have a little bit more manual control, you can go down here to these edit tools at the bottom. And these are all of your basic editing and develop settings that you can do right here in Mylio Photos. Now, if you need a little bit more creative tools to work with, you can try something like Luminar Neo, which has a ton of really cool stuff. It also has things for erasing and getting rid of distractions. It's got some AI tools in there that can be very helpful. If your image has some problems, meaning maybe it's a little too small to print, or it's got a lot of noise from being captured in really low light, or maybe it's a little bit blurry, you might need something like Topaz Photo AI to go ahead and help you solve some of those problems. And again, make those images look their best, because there's nothing worse than sending images off to print, having those prints come back and realize that the images you sent weren't very high quality. So make sure you go through those and give that a little bit of attention before you upload them. All right, let's go ahead and jump back over to the next slide, and we'll talk about uploading these to Printique. Now, I noticed something a moment ago, that one of these images that I was looking at is actually a PSD file. It's a Photoshop file. Most of these are TIFFs, which I can upload no problem to Printique, but that PSD file is not going to upload. So what I want to do here really quick is I want to go in here by file extension, and I want to see what I have here that's a PSD. All right, so these three images I need to do a quick thing with and make sure that I can use them for this purpose. So I'm actually going to just select those images, and I'm going to export them as full quality JPEGs, and we're going to put them back into the Mylio inbox so I can quickly grab them and put them back into this album. And what I'm doing here is making it into a format that is uploadable to Printique. So the PSD files, Printique sees those as document files, not image files. So we need to convert them. So I'm going to go here, do a JPEG. We're going to do our original size, original dimensions, maximum quality, perfect. We're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and switch that. Well, we'll keep Adobe RGB. We can turn Safe Share on. That's not necessary. We don't need a watermark. And the rest of those settings are fine. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Export. And I'm going to pop those into the Mylio inbox just so they're easy to find. We'll go ahead and say Open. There we go. And that's going to go ahead and export those files. Now quickly, I'm going to jump over here to my folders, into my Mylio inbox, and there are those three images. I'm going to go ahead and right click on those and say Add to Album. And we're going to go put those into my photo calendar here and continue. And now if we jump back over to that album, right now we're only showing PSDs. I actually want to right click on this and say exclude. So we're hiding those PSDs and only showing other file types. So all of my images are here. I have 12 images showing, 3 of them are hidden, which is why we're seeing 15. And now we can go ahead and upload these to Printique. So I'm going to go ahead and do a select all, Command or Control A, and that goes ahead and you can see the blue border around all of those photos. We'll go over here to the right and we'll click on the share icon and choose Post. We're going to go to Printique. If this is your first time clicking this, you're going to be either asked to create an account or log into an existing account. Once you've done that, you're going to get to this screen. You can click through and see all of your images that you have selected, and you can choose a gallery where you want these to go. I'm going to choose a new gallery and call this Calendar, and we'll hit Save. And then you just need to agree to the right to publish, meaning you're either the author of these photos or you've been given permission to reproduce them, and understand that prints can only be shipped to USA and Canada. All right, let's go ahead and hit Post. And that's going to upload those directly to the Printique website as full-size JPEGs. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to Printique here. Let's see here, 1 second. Let me go ahead and take this out of full screen because that's being silly here. All right, 1 second. There we go. There's my browser. When I go into full screen, sometimes the switching between screens can be silly. All right, so now we're at Printique and we want to go ahead and create our calendar. So up here along the top of the screen, you see all of the different options. And here's our calendars. I'm going to go ahead and just click on that. You'll see we have several different types of calendars we can create. A lot of people go with the centerfold calendars. That's totally fine. I'm a big fan of these top hanging ones, and you can also do desktop ones. So I'm going to go ahead and do these top hanging calendars right here. And we can go ahead and start formatting what we want. 12 by 18 is going to be your default size. You can do luster or glossy. I think luster has a really nice, very subtle texture, but it looks good for most photos. So we'll go with luster. We'll start at January 2025, but you can choose a different start date if you like. You can choose either a 12-month or 18-month. We'll go with 12, and I'm going to say create now. And this is going to bring us to a screen where we can choose the photos we want to use for our calendar. Now, before we do that, we can choose a layout. So you can choose one of these pre-built ones here. And let's say preview here. You can go ahead and click through and see what these look like. And that's not really what I'm after. I think I'm actually going to just go here to build my own. And let's go ahead and click that and select and continue. Now we're going to be able to choose our pictures. All right, give it just a second. And because we use that integration, we don't have to go here and upload. We can just simply click on Printique Galleries. And here's the calendar. It's got 8 photos so far. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and open. It's probably in the process of uploading the rest of those. It's just going to take a few minutes, but we can start with what we have and proceed to edit. So this is a great place to start. This is going to be your cover here. And I actually want to start on January. As I go through and do these things, a lot of times I will start with the January, or if I'm doing a book, I'll start with the first spread of the book. And then later, once I've got everything else designed, I'll go back and do the cover. That's just a personal preference. With this cover image, because it is actually going to fill up that entire screen, I might want to go back and choose a vertical image to put in there instead of a horizontal. So that's just something to keep in mind as you go through and do this. But let's go ahead and give this a go with what we've got so far and pick an image. So for January, let's go ahead. This one looks kind of wintry. We'll pop that in there and we can click on fit or fill. And we're going to say fit to the spread. That's going to go ahead and make it the width. And we can drag that up to the top. Now you have a couple of options here. You see this dotted line. This is the safe area. If you go up to the very, very top, it will overlay that edge where the coil is. You can do that if you like. I'm going to actually keep it down in this safe area and have that just be a white strip along the top. But you can certainly format that and have those holes go through the top of your image if you like. On some images, that's okay. But I think on most of my things, I would prefer to keep that line there. And so there's our first spread. Let's go ahead and jump to February. And I think this one here, February, there we go. We're going to go ahead and pull another image over onto the screen. And we're going to go ahead and fit that to the spread. Drag that up to that line. And again, as I'm dragging this, you'll notice that there's little dotted lines along the edges, a little bit in on the edges of the screen. Again, that's your safe area. What that's saying is because it's going edge to edge, that area right there on the side might not be safe. So you want to make sure as you're putting these together that the most important part of your picture, whether that's a person, whether that's the rock or the tree or whatever that's your subject, you want to make sure that is at least within that safe area. So let's go ahead and do that. And there's our February. We can go here to March and let's grab, let's see here. Let's grab this one. And again, we're going to fit or fill, fit to the spread, and drag that up. So you can see it's very, very easy to go ahead and create your calendar and make something that's really personal and fits your life or fits that of somebody else that you care about. Once you've got all your pictures in here, you can go up here to print preview. Take a look what that looks like in your calendar view here. I think that's actually going to turn out really, really nice. And you can jump to see what else needs to be, have pictures added. And as you go through this, you can also do a few other cool things. I'm going to go here back to edit. And you'll notice there's this option here to add an event. So if you have a special event in your family, or maybe it's your friend's birthday or an anniversary that you want to have actually printed on there, you can put that event title on there, pick a date, and that will add it to the calendar here. So when it's printed, it is personalized for whoever's receiving this calendar, which I think is really, really neat. That's a cool feature. You can change the font. You can change the layout of the grids here. So you can take a look at the grids. You can choose different styles. Tons of different options to really make this your own. I don't need to necessarily go into all of these options today, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. Once you have everything set up the way you want, you can go up here to order. Click that order. It's going to add it to your cart, and then you can go ahead and check out and purchase it. Now, I would suggest if you're having something custom like this printed for Christmas, get it done sooner rather than later. We are coming up very, very quick on those shipping deadlines, and I want to make sure that any gifts that you guys are trying to give are going to get to their intended recipient in time for Christmas. So don't wait too long. Some of these things take a little bit longer to produce than others. If you're doing things like books and calendars and maybe even like prints on metal, things like that, those take a little bit longer to produce. Now, if you're just getting photo prints, those are typically delivered a bit faster. So just kind of gauge what you need and how quickly you need to get that done. So that is pretty much all I have to share with that. We talked about uploading to Printique. We went through the process of creating the calendar, which is a lot of fun, placing your order. I'd like to go ahead and open up the floor for questions, and then we can go into our giveaway for today. It looks like I did see a couple of things pop up in the chat, so let's go ahead and get to that really quick. Get that off the screen. All right. Lisa asks, is there a quick filter of some sort that will find beach or water photos even if you haven't signed those keywords? So yeah, you can go ahead and type in water as a smart tag. So let's go over here back to Mylio. I'm going to go ahead and clear out my filters that I have. Go back here. Let's go ahead and clear those out. If you just type in here up under quick filters, let's type in water. And you'll see that it pulls up lots of different smart tags. Here's water right here. You can go ahead and click on that, and that's going to pull up all of your pictures that Mylio detects, that AI detects that there's water in them. So that's another great way to do that. So certainly, yes, you don't have to keyword everything. I do like to a lot of times add keywords as I import new pictures, but you certainly don't have to, and the AI can really help with that as well. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Lisa says, if you edit a Mylio, playing around with a lot of those settings, then decide you don't want it, is there an undo? Absolutely. If you do any editing in Mylio and you don't like it, so let's go ahead and just do a quick edit here. I'm going to just go up to the top. Let's add auto color, maybe an auto tone. If you do that, maybe do even a few other little tweaks here. Pull down the highlights, maybe pull up the shadows a little bit more. Go, you know what? I don't really like that. There's a reset button right here. Or if you just want to step back one step, you can do a Command or Control Z to undo. That'll undo individual steps in your editing. Or you can just click that reset and that takes it right back to your original. All of your editing in Mylio is non-destructive and it's saved to the XMP. It doesn't actually touch or damage your original file. All right. Let's see. Lisa says, can you show us how to add more than one photo on a month? Absolutely. Let's jump back over to the designer here. And I'm going to go here to April and we'll go back here to our photos. And let's go ahead and grab this one here. And you can see I can drag and bring these around so I can resize them however I like. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And there we go. I can click and drag and resize. And then I could grab another image here and pull that on there. And you can lay these out. So it's got also different grids here. So you can select a grid. Oh, that's the grids for the calendar. They've got shapes. So you can go ahead and pop your pictures into different shapes. Lots of different options here. But if you want to just kind of, put several images on here, you can, make kind of a collage, however you want to lay it out. So you have lots of options, but that's how you would do more than one image. Or another option for something like this is if you have two vertical images that you do side by side, that's also a really great way to do this. It might work better than having two horizontal images. All right, what else have we got here? All right, and Darren, you got your hand up.
Morning, Angela and Laurie and everyone else. Yeah, a few years ago, before I had Mylio, which I wish I had because it would have made life so much easier. The way that you've culled out your photos, cleaned them up, did your 4 and 5 pics and stuff. It took me a long time to do it manually, and of course, I never had the beauty of Mylio to sort my photos. But anyhow, so that's the first thing I want to mention. The second thing is We have a company here called Diamond Photo in New Zealand, and they're fantastic. And I was using them to do a lot of canvases and also the calendars when that came around. And then I started selling them. So I always put one of those lovely photo logos on. Is that what they're called again? I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put my one on the photos in the corner, pretty big, and
Yeah.
I put those on. But the things just some tips about the calendar. I liked the black background at the top. You know how you had a white one there. I like the
Yeah.
black background, and I also left a border around the edge, you know, a margin or a border, and it just allowed the photo to pop in there. Just not a huge one, and I
Yeah.
left enough along the bottom where I could put in the location of where the place was, and white on black looked really, really good.
That would
So
be really sharp.
yeah, so that came away, and then people knew where it was, you know, where my photos were. I focused on New Zealand, but I also have family in Australia, and the dates, you know, how you've got. I think I can barely see it because I'm on my phone, but does it have like New Year's Day there for written in, like all the holidays?
Yeah, I think it's got some holidays in there, and you can adjust those. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can adjust what's there.
So for New Zealand, it came up with all New Zealand ones, and it came up as well with Australian ones. Although I did have to add lots of additional, by crikey, by state, they have so many in Australia, and I had family all across Australia. But that was another thing I did. I love the beauty of putting those special, you know, those certain dates in. When it was targeted for a family member, and I did a separate order, I then put their birth dates in. So I love the
Nice.
beauty of doing that. That's really cool. What was the other thing I was going to say? And then getting them mass produced and sent. That company ships it just like I'm thinking your one does there. They just ship it directly out. So that was the beauty.
Yeah.
I'd take an order, I'd get all the person's details, and then I'd ship them out to them directly through. So from production to, you know, fabrication and sending out, that was just off my hands, and it was such a great idea. So yeah, and I
Fantastic.
was also thinking about being very close to Christmas and a timeline. So yeah, I definitely recommend you did it. It only took usually a couple of days, but yeah,
Yeah. Just
yeah,
you know, something like a calendar, especially if you want to get those details and you want to add, you know, a caption at the bottom that says where an image was taken, and adding in some of that custom information, it just takes a little bit of time. So
yeah,
just kind of budget that in as you're thinking about creating. That's a great tip.
yeah. No, it's good, and thank you for this because you've taught. There's so many different little features you've used through these real practical sessions that I've forgotten about or wasn't aware of. The clipboard one I found interesting. I'll have to go back and read that. I was just making a cup of coffee for breakfast when you did that bit, but yeah, you're on in the background. But yeah, I'm going to have a look at that because I like that clipboard idea where you can drag drop into the bottom. Is there a key combination that you use to set up the clipboard
Mm-mm.
thing? So you just move it
No.
down to the bottom of the screen, is it?
Yeah, you just grab something from the grid and drag it down, and it
Simple as
automatically
that.
will appear.
Every day, Mylio just keeps giving. Yeah. Hey, thank you for another lovely presentation, guys. Yeah.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, Darren.
I'll stop talking now.
Oh, you're fine. All right. It looks like Lisa had a little note for you in the chat about New Zealand as well. That's awesome. All right. Any other questions? One other quick thing I did want to mention, if you hadn't noticed, Mylio did drop a small update this morning. So if you haven't recently restarted Mylio, you might want to go ahead and do that. For those of you who are experiencing crashes with search, that has been fixed. We also added support for a handful of new cameras. So it's a very small update, no big features or anything, but you might want to go ahead and run that update once you get a chance and update all of your devices as well. So I just wanted to give that little suggestion. All right. And Lori, are we ready to do our giveaway?
We are ready.
Awesome. Let me go ahead and find that link. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel. And we are giving away a Printique photo book. So if you are interested, you can build your own book, and it's a lot of fun. We showed a couple of ways to do that last week, and it looks like Carol is our winner today. So congratulations, Carol. Let us know your email address. You can put that into the chat. If you want to send it privately to me or to Lori, we'll go ahead and make sure we get that promotion code sent out to you, and you can go ahead and create your photo book. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think you're going to enjoy it. And we're really happy to be able to give these away for these sessions. And I think takes it to the next level. So hopefully you guys are enjoying Picture Perfect Presents. I know I'm certainly enjoying showing them. This has got to be one of the most fun things I get to do with Mylio is show these kinds of fun projects that you can do with your photos, because it's stuff that I've always enjoyed. So with that, I want to wish you guys a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully you'll join us tomorrow for another Picture Perfect Presents. We'll have our live Q&A. Check out Lori's sessions if you have questions on specific topics, or maybe you need a refresher on Mylio Photos. With that, I want to wish you guys a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.